We so often just dismiss childhood fables as, well, simple bedtime entertainment. But honestly, when you look a little closer, they are packed with this incredibly timeless, almost ruthless wisdom about human nature, strategy, and survival. So today, we are decoding the profound life lessons hidden within a massive anthology of 15 classic stories. Get ready, because we're going to transform those tales from your childhood into highly actionable insights for your adult life. Let's get into it.
What's wrong, Tofu? I can't sleep. Would a bedtime story help? Now, this quote from our source material really frames our entire journey today. We have Tia talking to Tofu, and she's using stories not just to pass the time, but to actively calm anxieties and solve everyday problems. Whether it's a fear of being lost, struggling to solve a tough puzzle, or even dealing with a bully, Tia uses fables to help Tofu navigate his reality. And honestly, that's exactly what these stories were designed for from the start. They're practical tools for navigating real-life challenges, absolutely regardless of how old you are.
We are tackling a massive lineup today. We've got 15 distinct fables, ranging all the way from the ugly duckling and the hare and tortoise over to the gingerbread man and the golden goose. Our main goal here is to distill this giant list of seemingly childish bedtime tales into profound, actionable insights for us as adults. So we're going to look way past the talking animals and the magical scenarios to extract the core psychological truths buried right beneath them.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our structural roadmap. We've organized these 15 tales into 4 universal truths: the cost of ego, wisdom over brute force, the ripple effect of kindness, and the perils of greed. And finally, we'll cover some timeless lessons for today.
Section 1. The cost of ego. Pride comes before the fall.
Across all these fables, you'll notice arrogant characters consistently face a pretty harsh downfall. Take the hare and the tortoise. The hare was incredibly fast, sure, but absolutely full of himself. He succumbed to what the story calls fake overconfidence. He underestimated his opponent so much that he literally stopped to take a nap mid-race. Contrast that with the tortoise. Humble, steady, just a very calm thinker. The explicit moral we all know is that slow and steady wins the race. But the deeper psychological insight here, it's that underestimating others while overestimating yourself is a massive trap. Proud people, as the fable notes, just don't survive for very long when they ignore reality.
And this ego trap, it catches plenty of others too. Think about the gingerbread man. He ran around boasting, "You can't catch me," completely blinding himself to actual danger until a clever fox simply tossed him up in the air and ate him. A delicious harsh lesson, right? Then there's the fox and the sour grapes. The fox jumps and jumps for these grapes he simply cannot reach. But instead of just admitting failure, what does he do? He protects his bruised ego by making excuses, claiming the grapes were probably sour anyway. His ego completely prevented him from adapting his strategy, which ultimately left his stomach growling.
Moving to Section 2. Wisdom over brute force. Brains beat brawn.
So what does this all mean? Well, the most successful characters in these stories don't actually survive by being the biggest or the strongest, they survive by being the smartest. And this brilliantly illustrates that point. The clever crow is a fantastic mental model for this. Faced with a jug where the neck is just way too narrow to drink from, he doesn't panic. He assesses the obstacle, finds some pebbles in his surroundings, and drops them in, one by one, until the water level finally rises. This isn't just a bird getting a drink. This is literally a highly effective, step-by-step framework for modern problem solving. Assess the obstacle, use your available resources, and apply incremental effort to achieve your goal.
We see this applied wisdom pop up again with the 3 little pigs. The first 2 pigs, they opted for quick fixes, straw and sticks. But the third pig built his house brick by brick. So when the big bad wolf came huffing and puffing, that strong house stood entirely firm. And when the wolf tried to climb down the chimney, the pig didn't try to fight him directly. He used his brain, placing a boiling pot of water right at the bottom. It just goes to show that careful preparation and strategic thinking provide ultimate security over rushed, effortless solutions.
Situational awareness is for sure your greatest asset. Imagine a cap seller waking up to find monkeys wearing all of his merchandise. He doesn't try to fight them. He realizes a simple fact: monkeys imitate. So he simply throws his own cap down, the monkeys copy him, and boom, he gets his wares back. Or consider the clever fox visiting the sick lion's cave. The fox notices a ton of footprints going in, but 0 returning. By simply observing the raw data right in front of him, he avoids becoming the lion's dinner. Brains beat brawn every single time.
All right, Section 3. The ripple effect of kindness. What goes around, comes around.
Across this entire anthology, there is this undeniable karmic loop. What you put out into the world inevitably circles right back to you. The mighty lion spares a tiny mouse. Later on, when that lion is caught up in a hunter's net, it's that exact same mouse who gathers his friends to chew through the ropes and set the king of the jungle free. In a really similar vein, a dove drops a leaf into a rushing river to save a drowning ant. Weeks later, that same ant spots a hunter aiming at the dove and bites the hunter's heel, saving the bird's life. These narratives clearly emphasize that small, seemingly insignificant acts of kindness, especially to those smaller or weaker than you, yield massive, life-saving returns down the line.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it shows the dark side of that reciprocity. The fox invites the stork over for dinner and plays this pretty cruel trick, serving delicious soup in a really shallow dish. The fox laps it all up, while the stork can only wet the very end of her bill. She goes home totally hungry. But that karmic loop, it strikes back. A week later, the stork invites the fox for lunch and serves fish inside a really narrow pitcher. The stork eats easily, while the fox, with his thick snout, can only lick the outside. The lesson is crystal clear. One bad turn deserves another. If you deal in bad faith, expect bad faith in return.
Next up, Section 4, The Perils of Greed. Wanting it all, losing it all.
So, the crucial point is that greed and impatience pretty much always orchestrate their own disastrous consequences. And the pattern is just undeniable here. A farmer wants instant wealth, kills his golden goose, and loses everything. The wolf in Red Riding Hood wasn't satisfied with just eating the grandma. He wanted the little girl too, stuck around, and ended up getting an axe to the head, forcing him to flee completely empty-handed. And the wolf with the crane, he literally begs for help with a bone stuck in his throat, offering a handsome reward. But once the crane actually helps him, the greedy wolf refuses to pay, stating that not eating the crane was reward enough. The consequence, he renders himself permanently untrustworthy, proving once and for all that predators lack gratitude.
0. That is the exact number of golden eggs the farmer found when he cut that goose open. This is the stark, undeniable reality of greed and impatience. That farmer sacrificed a long-term, steady, guaranteed gain for the illusion of an immediate payout that simply did not exist. It's just a powerful warning against cutting corners, trying to get rich quick.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 5, Timeless Lessons for Today. Applying Fables to Modern Life.
So, we've decoded the ego, the wisdom, the kindness, and the greed. Now, let's bring these childhood tales directly into our adult reality, starting right here with self-worth. Think about the ugly duckling. He spent months feeling ugly, unloved, and entirely useless, walking all alone in that freezing forest. But he wasn't ugly. He was just a swan, comparing himself to ducks. As the source beautifully puts it, a diamond doesn't know its worth till it's polished. So if you're ever feeling out of place, unvalued, or like you're failing to thrive, it doesn't mean you lack worth. It might simply mean you haven't found your true environment, your true wedge of swans, just yet.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with a question to think about. Which Fables lesson do you most urgently need to revisit today? Are you letting fake confidence trap you like the hare? Do you need to apply the step-by-step problem-solving wisdom of the clever crow? Or maybe, are you waiting for a golden egg that just doesn't exist? These fables have lasted for generations because human nature, at its core, hasn't changed. Take a moment to really reflect on that. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack these incredible stories. Keep learning, keep observing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.